What's good? I am Eric Vincent. Welcome to another episode this week of Beyond the Box. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Really hope everybody had a great weekend, enjoying their Monday this evening, of course. And as you can see, AJ is not in the office today, not available, dealing with some stuff at the crib. Really hope everything's okay with him at the home front. Or really, he could just be upset that I've now passed him in our week picks. But hey, we'll talk about that a little bit later because I'm really happy with who we got here riding shotgun with us today. One half of Griffin and Bass, one of my favorite people here on the network. My guy, what's going on? Hey, noise. Everybody give a warm greeting to my dude, Matthew Bass. And how's it going today, man?
What up, EV? Happy to be back joining you on the show. Definitely happy to be here. Happy to fill in for AJ. He's got some more important things to deal with. Sure. I don't have those kind of problems, so I'm easy to fill in.
We're easy with the substitute, no problem. But it's good to be here, man. I'm happy you're here. Again, you are one half of Griffin and Bass. I've already told Ryan that he's still banned from the show after I fumbled a 60-point lead to him in fantasy football like 3 weeks ago. I have not forgiven him for that yet. I'm still pissed, and he's not allowed on the show. So you go have to be.
I was going to say, we can't blame the Lions for that. They play on Sunday, so it was none of them that messed you up at the end of the weekend.
This was literally just a me thing. He had Jalen Hurts and I think Stephon Diggs who popped up for 40 points each. So all bad about
that'll do it.
Football world. Yep. But again, man, I'm happy to have you here. And of course, to all the listeners and the viewers, wherever you're tuning in at, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all the above. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you talk to us in the comment section. We got a lot to get into today. Let's just go ahead and rip this Band-Aid off, man. Again, I wish it could be under better circumstances.
What Band-Aid is that?
Yeah, exactly. This is all we know. Here in this city. So the Detroit Lions did what they do. I've been saying it for a few weeks now because I know there's a subsection of Lion fans out there that are tired of hearing the term SOL. They're tired of hearing that description. Not because they're tired of the Lions performing, but they're tired of fans and others labeling it as SOL. So not even mad at the Lions for what they do. They're mad at how we label it. And it makes no sense to me because that's all that we keep seeing week by week. And that's all that happened this past week. 24-6, another loss in the record books for them. Still another road loss for Dan Campbell. Has not got a road win yet as the Lions head coach since the grit era, whatever you want to call it. I've had enough talking about it being disgusted as I am. What were your thoughts of the game, man? Talk to us.
Well, if y'all were watching Griffin and Bass, you'd have known the first half was the play as far as betting was concerned. And what's up, Matthew Reilly? Appreciate you joining in and watching us. We talked about it on Griffin and Bass that with Dak coming back, take advantage of the first half because he's going to be a little rusty. Everything's not going to be flowing the way it is. And if there's a bet to lay, it's the Lions in the first half. And the Lions in the first half, 6-3 at halftime. So that came true. The second half, a little bit of a different story, a little bit of bad luck, and a lot of bad decision-making by players, namely the starting quarterback, Jared Goff. And all you got to go do is go look back at some of the tapes. Now, it is a normal thing, Eric, for a quarterback, when he gets the snap, he backs up a little bit, right? Give himself a little more time before the rush can get to him. But that's what creates the pocket. And then you step up into the pocket and throw the ball. Jared Goff seems to have forgotten part 2 of this assignment. And he stands back where he is, or he runs to where the rush is about to be. His pocket presence and awareness is just, it's mind-boggling sometimes for someone who's been in the league as long as he is. And look, I've never thought he was a great quarterback. I have always thought he was part of a very, very good team with the Rams in 2018, behind Todd Gurley and an all-star defense. But he didn't mess things up for them, and they got to the Super Bowl. They didn't deserve it. The Saints should have been there. The play that wasn't ever blown, the whistle that wasn't blown, that should have been blown.
Still can't believe that.
Ruined our historical Super Bowl of Tom Brady versus Drew Brees. But Jared Goff, he rode that team and got to a Super Bowl. But he's had 5-6 years now of understanding this. And there were so many times where his decision-making impacted this game horribly because the defense has gotten better. You can't say it hasn't. They've done a hell of a job over these past couple of weeks of getting better than where they were. But when your offense continues to give the ball back to the Dallas Cowboys, your defense is going to crumble at some point, and that's what happened in the final legs of this game, and they fall 24-6.
Wait, so you mean if you're Jared Goff and with his elite athleticism and scrambling, you mean you don't run around the pocket and try to scramble to the sideline, then toss it out? That's not what you do as a quarterback?
No.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from. Now, granted, they're dealing with a lot. They've been dealing with injuries for a while, and they always seem to come in the weirdest ways. It's like opening week, it was Ragnow, and then it was like one or two. It was Big V, and then I think maybe one other offensive lineman. So it's 3 offensive linemen there. A week or two later, it's the receiver core. 2 or 3 go down. Then they're thin. The week after that, the DBs go down. That was the Patriots game where like 3, 4, maybe 5 went down in like the second half alone. So the Lions do have a lot of issues going on with that. But again, they still found themselves in position to win this game. They were only down 10-6 up until maybe this damn near close to the fourth quarter. And you said it perfectly. The defense, even though they've been on a historic tear of how bad they've been, you're ruining great performances by them. We just saw 2, I think either 2 sacks or a sack and a half for Hutch. Jeff Okudah with another fantastic game. Look, normally with a quarterback
tackles.
Yeah, and normally with a quarterback
for a cornerback.
Normally that's not good. That means your receiver is getting a lot of catches, but he was doing good in run support. He was getting a lot of tackles early without allowing yards after catch. You're ruining performances by an already short-handed defense. You can't get more than 6 points. Now, granted, I know Dallas's defense is good, but you're in position repeatedly to score. You were driving the ball just fine. You have to be able to punch it home. But you may hate SOL, but how they spoil all these opportunities, that's SOL written all over it.
And here's the problem. Everything gets called SOL. So when someone says SOL, it's a different meaning for who's saying it. To me, SOL is finding new and spectacular ways to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. That's the biggest part of SOL to me. The second part of SOL is the history of it, and it's that William Clay Ford didn't give a damn about the Lions. He didn't care if they won or lost. Case in point, Matt Millen, worst at his job in the history of the position of being president, GM, whatever the hell he was. And after 5 years, William Clay Ford gave him a 5-year extension. Literally the worst in the history of his job, and he got a 5-year extension. William Clay Ford didn't care. Okay, it just flat out, he didn't care. I honestly believe that Sheila cares and that she wants to do things differently. And I believe in this chance to be different. It's all brand new. We have a brand new coach who is in the game number 23, 24, whatever it is. He hasn't even gotten through 2 full seasons yet. He got coached circles around him in Foxborough by Bill Belichick. That's not embarrassing. It's Bill Belichick, literally the greatest modern head coach in NFL history, probably the greatest head coach in NFL history. He's going to coach circles around a guy who's coaching game number 21. That's just the way it's supposed to be. Matt Patricia had nothing to do with that game. Everyone wants to say, oh, we got embarrassed by Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia is like a Make-A-Wish kid that Bill Belichick took pity on and brought him to the sidelines. I don't know what his actual role is. I do know one thing. Bill Belichick flat out told him, you're not touching my defense. You're not touching my defense. I'll put you over there with the offense. You can do whatever you want. You're not touching my defense. And there's a reason. He's Bill Belichick. He can do that. But to me, that part of it, this part is not SOL. Finding new ways to lose, of course, it's always part of SOL. But I think we have an owner that actually cares. We have a head coach that is learning on the job, but he cares. And I see that. I think the players see that, and they play hard for the guy. And I think I keep saying this, there's a reason they were giving him and Holmes a 6-year contract. They knew it was going to be really bad before it got good. But we're seeing where it can get good. We're seeing Hutchinson. We're seeing Joseph. We finally got to see Paschal. We've seen Rodrigo. We are seeing the beginnings of what this team could look like when they are no longer the same old Lions.
Facts. I'm with you on that. Where we part ways is there definitely was a whole again, to me, SOL was some of the passes that Jared Goff was throwing. SOL, without question, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this one, is Jamal Williams fumbling at the 1-yard line when you drove 60, 70 yards down the field, you're in position to take the lead. That's SOL. The SOL is where the offensive line is unnecessarily holding and blowing first down conversions to, keep the drive moving. That's SOL. But again, you hit into a lot of things that we saw. Pascal looked fantastic. He was giving a lot of great run support. Even some of the viewers were saying the same thing. They see the growth potential of having him. And with this
Johnny killed me, man. Johnny killed me. The same old line. We'll take the wind. That same old Lions. You win a coin toss for overtime and you say we're going to take the wind. That's SOL. And Johnny, you nailed it.
An all-time historic moment. Jesus. We should for the scariest moments in Lions history. That's what our Halloween show should be. The scariest moments ever. We can just replay all the SOL moments in our franchise history. But some of the facts too, again, you couldn't have asked better for the defense. You really couldn't have. And even with them being shorthanded and, with some of the luck they were getting on offense with like Amon-Ra St. Brown getting hurt again, Goff is getting hit a lot more than he normally has been. Like the first few weeks, I was never of the mindset that this, top 3 or number 1 scoring attack was going to last all season. I didn't think that was going to happen. But I also didn't think Goff would be getting hit as much as he has been lately. And that's a little discouraging.
Well, I mean, outside of the Eagles, which was week 1, so no one looks as good as they could possibly be week 1. But outside of that Eagles defense, the Lions hadn't played a good defense until they went to Foxborough. And numbers-wise, New England's not a good defense, or they weren't at that time. They're a better than advertised defense, and you got Bill Belichick, who is literally the best at taking away your strengths and attacking your weaknesses. And then you got the Cowboys defense, and that is a vaunted defensive line they got to deal with, a pass rush they got to deal with. You saw Taylor Decker get nailed for a couple of whistles. You saw Brown get nailed for a couple of whistles as well. So you saw the effect it had, the holding penalties, the false starts, all that stuff. I'm trying to stop a guy like Micah Parsons from coming back in your backfield before you can even hand the ball off to your running back. You have to find ways to cheat a little bit to get a head start on the guy, because he's doing his ways to cheat to get a head start on that snap count. And so it's going to happen. It's what the refs see, and that's why they're blowing whistles. But our O-line, obviously not healthy. We haven't even seen our starting 5-0 line. Halapoulivaati Vaitai is not out there, hasn't been out there. Like you said, you call him Big V, because I understand you don't want to try and say his first name.
No,
I get it.
Not even going to give it a shot. It's not going to disrespect him like that. But
so it's a mix of these things. It's a mix of Goff and his decision-making. It's a mix of the injuries on the O-line, and we are playing some better defenses these last 2 weeks anyway, or 2 out of the 3. Obviously, we didn't play anyone on the bye.
Right. No, you're good. And I appreciate a lot of the feedback we see in the chat, and a lot of the viewers saying some of the same thing. Would you take Will Anderson? I definitely would. Yeah, absolutely. At this point where the Lions are looking, you will take anything in the best position available in terms of defense. 100% I would take that. But sadly, they're 1-5. They just got off their bye week. It's week 7 or 8 coming up. People are already in draft mode. We're already thinking about the draft. We're already thinking about, God, what would Bryce Young look like under the center? Maybe. I don't want CJ Stroud, but maybe some are. Maybe some are thinking about CJ Stroud, who they can pair up defensively with Hutch on the D line. Can we find a linebacker to replace Anzalone, who's horrible at this point? That's the mindset of where the fan base is. I didn't think it was going to get to this point this early, and that's another reason why the games like the Vikings game hurt so much. Surrendering a career day to Geno Smith hurts so bad, because if you lose to the Cowboys after you win 1 or 2 of those games, I don't care. Dallas, I thought, was going to win their division, so I wasn't going to, pop off about that. Even if it wasn't an SOL type fashion, I wouldn't have cared. The Vikings game, getting skunked by a 3rd string, 4th round, rookie quarterback, zippity dude. Like, I don't understand, man. Like, that's what makes these losses so much worse to me, man. Like, this is horrible. Like, it's absolutely terrible. I'm with you, John. I don't trust Stroud either as OSU QB. I don't.
It's tough. We haven't seen a successful Ohio State quarterback in the NFL. So there's a lot of reasons people say don't trust it. It's hard to trust these quarterbacks who, when their wide receivers and their offense are so much better than the teams are playing defensively, that the quarterbacks look absolutely amazing. And then they get to the NFL, and especially to the Lions, where you are worse than almost every other team in the NFL. And now you got to do it when it matters and when it counts. And so it's hard to do that in this situation. For those asking who, would you take Will Anderson? I'm right there with you. Absolutely. I don't care what position we're in. I don't care if we got the greatest defense in football. I'm still going to take a Will Anderson if he's available and he's right there on the clock. Offenses are easier to fix in football than defenses. That's why this has happened quicker on the offensive side of the ball. You plug in a few of the right playmakers offensively, and you've got an offense that's at least semi-decent. Mm-hmm. The defensive side of the football, the names that I said going forward are the names I think we're going to see be a part of the Lions for years to come. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of names playing defense, starting defensively on this Lions team that will not be on this Lions team when we are a good football team if the ownership has the patience to see through the 6-year contract for Holmes and Campbell. Because if we blow it up again and we start all over again, then it's all out the window and I have no idea where we're going to be.
We're going right back to where we were to start off the season, right where we were 2-3 years ago. It's the same cycle repeatedly. So let's talk a little bit about ownership because you were just speaking on that. We talked about the Jameson Williams pick. We obviously haven't seen him yet. He's still recovering. Hopefully he can get his knee right. At this point, if I'm him watching this, I'm sitting on the sideline like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready to go. Give me one more week. Give me a couple more weeks. Give me another month. Yeah, we'll try to iron it out. But you said we've spoke to a lot of the position players that we think will be building blocks and foundation pieces that we haven't really seen either performed up to ability yet or haven't even played because of injury. So Haskell playing his behind off, Hutch doing what he did, lining up in a new technique and, seeing to have some success with it. I remember Aqib Talib saying, he's got to get a pass rush move. He was working a spin move. He had a nice dip earlier to get behind, I think it's the left or right tackle. They've switched him around a lot. Again, we haven't seen J-Mo Williams. We haven't seen Amon-Ra play healthy in a few weeks at this point. Do you think there are saving graces for this season, or is it just time to punt completely and go to the draft?
Well, no, I think there are saving graces for this season. It depends. What matters is your view of what you think a successful season is. Mm-hmm. All right. Obviously, coming off of 3-13-1 last year, people, were thinking, if you double the number of wins, that's successful. And then the start happened. And they're like, now we're not going to win another game after that one win that we got against the Washington Commanders. We're not going to win another game after that. But what you are seeing is the future. We don't care about right now. We're not winning right now. We're not trying to win right now. I know the players are trying to win. Campbell wants to win. Obviously, as fans, you want them to win, but you're not being realistic. This is not a good football team. In the most important aspect of the football team is defensively. Everyone wants to go look at the Giants and look at the Jets and look at these teams in similar rebuilds, which they're absolutely not, but that's a different story.
Not at all.
Their defenses are in a better position. And when your defense can do a lot for you by being able to do its job really well, it makes the offensive life a heck of a lot easier. You see it in basketball where our offense thrives off our defense. Facts. That's across all sports. It really is across all sports, just in different ways. The defense is harder to build. But you look at the names I just said, a Kirby Joseph, a Josh Paschal, an Aiden Hutchinson, a Rodriguez, a Chase Lucas. These are building blocks for the future of the Detroit Lions, not the 2022 Detroit Lions. So there's absolutely bright points. You are getting these guys, you're getting time for these guys to see them play, see where they're going to fit in, see where they need to grow going into next year, as opposed to having them just sit and wait their turn. But there's no one for them to learn from. The free agents aren't coming to Detroit yet. That's Brad Holmes' next step in my mind, is going to find those big play free agents that are willing to take a chance on Campbell and Holmes and the Detroit Lions. Right. We need those big, because right now we're relying on rookies and second years to be our leaders. That's usually not a way for success. Mm-hmm. You need to have your veterans leading the way for the rookie and second year guys. We don't have those veterans. We need to bring some of those guys in. That's what I'm looking for with Holmes in year 3 for the offseason for him, his third offseason with the Detroit Lions. Go find some free agents that are going to make a difference for the 2023 and beyond Detroit Lions.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. I agree with you now. If we were to start off this season, I didn't think the Lions were going to make the playoffs. I at least thought they would be playing in meaningful games, at least in November, maybe December, where they were at least competitive and showing that they were above beating themselves, getting out coached at an elementary level. I at the very least thought they would be able to survive to that degree. I'll even take it a step further. I got a lot of sins I got to, confess. I even thought that this defense was I thought that they would be bend and don't break enough that they would even have the capital and the resources to maybe even make a splash at a Lamar Jackson. I said it. I did. I put that propaganda out. This was before getting skunked by Zippity Doodah and the Patriots. This is before what happened with Geno Smith. As soon as I saw that, because we saw Hutch pop off with his 3 sacks. We saw Charles Harris, who seems to have like disappeared lately. McNeil hasn't really been much. Because you said it, your offense can feed off of your defense, especially if you're putting them in short field positions. And I thought if the D line, which is the most important position in the defense in the NFL 2022, if you're sufficient enough to get pressure on your opponents and get the ball back in short opportunity windows, maybe you could have the resources to make a move in a splash like that. At this point, I've completely punted on that idea. This defense is way worse than I thought it was going to be. Again, I thought they would survive and be like the 15th or maybe the 20th defense in the NFL.
The 15th?
Serviceable. Maybe that's serviceable. Be serviceable. You ain't got to be elite. Be serviceable. Is that too much to ask for?
Let me ask you a question.
Please do.
How many of these opinions of yours on our defense came after you watched Hard Knocks? A lot of them, huh? Yeah. That HBO Kool-Aid guy. Oh, I see it. Is it blue? It's blue, isn't it?
Yes, I had it all in my cup. I was sucking it, man. All that run.
Hard Knocks did that to a lot of people.
Destroyed all of our optimism. We forgot who our team was that was on that screen.
Yes, and you did.
Yeah, I'm learning now that was all a mistake. I'm harshly learning it was a mistake.
We did this. The last time I was on with you, we talked about, it was months ago now, but we talked about how bad the defense was. 30th, 31st, 32nd, and all of these different stats. And, in pass rush, and sacks, turnovers, all that stuff. How bad our D-line was. And that's why they went and drafted Aiden Hutchinson. And that's why they followed that up with drafting Josh Paschal. And everyone was like, oh, why do we need 2 edges? You're going to see, because we talked about this before, and I said, wait until Paschal comes in. He's not the same player at all as Aiden Hutchinson. Paschal's going to go into all sorts of different gaps on that D-line to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. And he's going to do it in a very different way than Hutch. So these guys are the guys that we need because our defense is so bad. The defense isn't good yet. We are focusing a lot of attention on it. Go look at the draft. How many offensive players did we take in the draft? 2 out of the 8 players we picked. So 6 players went toward defense on the draft. And everyone wants to complain. I understand. We traded these picks to move up and get Jameson Williams. Look, when you have what could be an all-generational talent at wide receiver, a Jefferson, a Diggs, a Debo, someone of that caliber where you can use them so much offensively, they can be so dangerous. You take that chance if you're in a position like the Lions, where outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown, we didn't have any wide receivers. We just didn't. So having this generational talent possibility was too much to pass up. But they followed that immediately with the next pick, and that was Josh Paschal. And then they followed that up with Rodriguez, Lucas, so on and so forth. And so they are focusing on the right things, which is the defense. Because we don't have a good defense yet. Don't get fooled by Hard Knocks. I don't care how much hype music they played. I don't care that Eminem came down to talk to him. It don't matter. The defense is terrible, and it's going to stay that way until we get the right people involved. And to make matters worse, some of the right people can't stay healthy and stay on the field.
I think that's something that should be addressed too. I don't think this is a huge concern at this point because, again, I'm happy with the guys they picked. I was okay with Paschal. I liked it with J-Mo pickup. Getting guys that can't play for a while, though, it does not seem to be serving this team well, especially considering the injuries that they have. Now, having so many injury-riddled players like DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra's having a big problem. Ragnow has been a problem with staying healthy. It's been a lot of injury concern with this team, period. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed for sure. And I even think he deserves maybe a little bit of blame. Again, I don't want to overreact too much on the front office because I do appreciate some of the things they're doing. I do agree in thinking that Martha wants to win. I do like the direction of Brad Holmes. I like what he did when he was with the Rams. And I still think he has promise for the future at this point. They're shooting themselves in the foot, though, week after week. And it seems like there's real problems with keeping these guys on the field, keeping them productive, and building consistency. It's just a lot of issues with that. And it's really showing. And again, I'm man enough to admit it. I'm sorry for psyching y'all in. I was hyped for it. It was Hard Knocks. It was a strength of schedule. I didn't think the division was going to be that good. Like, it was a lot of things that seemed like they were playing in the Lions' future in the direction. But again, they're not just getting beat by teams, they're beating themselves in the most unnecessary ways possible. And it's absolutely killing me to watch every Sunday.
Well, and it's funny because the script flipped. The script was the offense is putting up 40 points. How are you losing?
Right.
Now, the defense is actually stopping teams,
right.
But the offense disappeared. Now, look, we all know how important Swift is to this offense. And Swift's another one of these players that you have to look at and take a hard look at. Because when he's on the field, he can be fantastic.
Yes.
The problem is he's not on the field enough. Ever. And Jamal Williams, as good as he is as a number 2, he's still a number 2 for a reason. Mm-hmm. He's not a starting running back in the NFL. He's a really, really good number 2. But he's not a starting running back in the NFL. Right. At least not for this team. He can be on another team that's already really good, has everything going for them. Jamal Williams could do wonders for them. On this team, where he looks like he loves it here, and I'm happy for that because he is a heck of a lot of fun, both in interviews and on the field. But without Swift or a real running game to go, you're depending too much now on Goff, and Goff is not that guy. He's just not. I don't care if you put Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, and Calvin Johnson and have them be your 4 wide receivers. Jared Goff's still not that guy, and he's never going to be that guy. Whether you accept that or not, that's on you guys out there. But I've seen it since the jump that he was never going to be that guy. So you need to build everything around him, and the most important thing is a running game that he can ride the coattails of, a la a Todd Gurley in 2018 with the Rams.
100%.
Swift has all of that in him, but his body, it just doesn't handle the NFL rigors. It just doesn't.
So brittle. He's completely brittle. Dr. Detroit, yes, thank you. Sheila, not Martha. I apologize. Let me get that corrected. You're 100% right. That's the care factor. Martha's. Let's just move on. Anyway,
hey, she did the right thing. Martha did the right thing. She stepped aside. Yes. She's letting Sheila and co run this whole thing. She did the right thing. Absolutely, got to give Martha props for that.
Yes,
but yeah, get her name right. It's Sheila. Get it right. Get it tight.
Please, yes, please, and please keep the comments coming in the chat. Loving all the feedback that we're seeing. And before we trick to the next topic, make sure you guys follow us on all of our social media. We are available on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of the above. Detroit Sports Nation. Make sure you search us and follow us. Also, take a tap and follow us on Beyond the Box DSN on Twitter as well. Make sure you get our channels subbed. Make sure you followed us. We're trying to get some fantasy luck to get AJ dancing on TikTok to do his good old Billie Jean rendition. If he does fall short in fantasy, that is still our hope. I'm still trying to make that happen, but you got to follow to make sure we can make that happen to be possible.
Hang on. You do not want to see the whitest of white men dance. Why would you want to see that?
I do. Trust me.
Why do you want to see that?
This black man absolutely wants to see that. I laugh every time Aiden Hutchinson dances, period. The only one who can be funnier than Aiden Hutchinson is AJ Reilly.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't. That, man. I think I'm about to turn this into a horror show, man.
Oh yes. I need that for this year. This is my saving grace. Let's move on to college football. We got a huge game coming up. In Ann Arbor. It's actually just slated to the 7:30 game on primetime with ABC, where the Paul Bunyan Trophy is on the line between Michigan and Michigan State. U of M looking like a juggernaut right now. Looking pretty dominant in every way, shape, or form right now, especially the Big Ten. We talked last week if we thought that they were the best team in college football. We don't think so yet, but there could possibly be some ways, at least I might believe so, that in terms of beating Michigan or upsetting them. It may not be for Michigan State, but if Michigan State were to game played, if Tuck's coming, what does Tuck and Michigan State have to do in order to pull off the biggest upset possibly between this rivalry in Michigan?
You need to sneak Kenneth Walker back into the stadium in a green and white jersey, number one. You need to find some offensive linemen that know their job, know how to pass block, know how to run block, number two. And then pray to every single god of every single religion you got. Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, Hindu, Islam, Muslim, whatever you got, you gonna need it because, look, both my parents went to Michigan State, graduated Spartans. All right, I was born green and white. All right, but I can call a spade a spade. This is not a good football team.
No,
they rely. What happened this past week before the bye week against Wisconsin, where Jacob Slade and Xavier Henderson came back? The defense actually looked like some semblance of a defense. At least they looked a little bit like they knew what they were doing. Without them out there is no chance whatsoever. Every offense can do, as long as your quarterback has one working arm, he was going to complete a whole bunch of passes against the Michigan State defense. Now, Slade is back. Xavier Henderson is back. So the defense is going to be a little bit better, but it's not going to matter. Blake Corum is going to run all over this team. Donovan Edwards is going to run all over this team. J.J. McCarthy is going to be able to do whatever he wants unless Michigan State literally gets 3 to 4 turnovers per half. So 6 to 8 turnovers for the game. Michigan is going to run away with the Paul Bunyan Trophy in a laughingstock. It's going to be similar to my favorite Super Bowl of all time, Joe Montana over John Elway, 55-10. Something like that. This Michigan offense, it's too good. It absolutely, they can do whatever they want. They especially love to ground and pound. It's how I said they take care of Iowa, and they absolutely did. It's how I said they take care of Penn State. They absolutely did. They're going to be able to do it against this Michigan State defense as well. Absolutely enough. And if they'd ever get bored of it, they can let JJ just go to the air. And he is going to do whatever he wants. Peyton Thorne would have to throw for 450 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions for the Spartans to have a chance. I love my Spartans. It's not happening this year.
We always appreciate objectivity on this show, so shout out to you for that, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, Peyton Thorne got to look like Johnny Manziel in order to make this happen. Something I want to see, and again, yes, Michigan looks unbelievable from both fronts. You were just talking about the offense. Defensively, it looks like they got NFL talent everywhere. Like the D-line is constantly just taking over drives, shutting out opponents, and just basically rendering them useless by halftime. It's unbelievable. I think if there's any chance, and I don't know if this is going to happen because there are some pieces that maybe a piece or two. I really like Jaden Reed in terms of the offense. I've seen Peyton Thorne play decent in some games where he's able to be consistent and make some plays. If it's going to happen, Michigan State has to make Michigan play from behind. Michigan has done a really good job of avoiding that. They don't really get a lot of penalties. They protect the quarterback phenomenally. JJ's been very, very clean in the pocket. And obviously the run game with the two-headed monster of Corum and Edwards has just been phenomenal. If there's any chance that they have to make Michigan sweat a little bit, you have to play with the lead. It's going to be tough, but I think Michigan might unravel. If they had to play it that way, where it's coming down to the fourth quarter and they didn't want to, again, they want to put JJ in positions where he doesn't have to look like Peyton Manning, where he doesn't have to throw 50 times a game, where he can just manage it, make the right plays, and make the needed plays to keep the ball moving. I think if you want to put some pressure on them, get that lead early. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's to me, the only saving grace that they can do, because they do a good job of, this is what good teams do. They don't let you get a lead. They play ahead. They make you get desperate. And if that continues for Michigan, then they're in a favorable position. But MSU has to come out guns a-blazing to open the game.
And that's the question mark that hasn't really been answered too much yet. Maryland a little bit was able to test it with Talia Tagovailoa, but other than that, they haven't played a great passing offense outside of the Maryland game. And Maryland fought with them. They stuck with them throughout basically the whole game. And so they were able to keep that close. And Michigan State has the receiving weapons to do it. Jaden Reed, Keon Coleman, Trey Mosley, these are good receiving weapons, and they got a couple good tight ends also. And that's one of actually Michigan's, if you're looking for a weakness with Michigan, it's guarding the tight ends. They're not great at it. Their linebackers are not great at it. Their secondary is good, but it's not a lockdown secondary. So if the Michigan State offensive line can create the time for Peyton Thorne and those wide receivers, they could do a little bit of damage. But it would need to be a perfect storm for everything. You would need the rain from the John O'Corn game. You would need the fumble with the snap. You would need Spartan Bob in the clock. You would need TJ Duckett, or not TJ, his older brother Duckett with the touchdown. You would need everything going your way in all the bounces, because this Michigan team is really good. They are very good from top to bottom, from their offensive line to their defensive line. Their running backs, we know, obviously, they got the best running back tandem in the country, and I don't even know if it's even close.
Unbelievable.
They have good enough wide receivers, absolute, athletes playing wide receivers. Their defense, the tackling is good. The coverage needs a little bit of work, but they haven't been tested that much, so they haven't had to work at it that much.
Exactly.
The Ohio State game, you're going to find out how good the secondary is for the Michigan Wolverines. That's I don't know if there's a game before that anymore. Maryland was the only other one I thought that would test it. So the Ohio State game, we're going to find out how good the Michigan secondary is. Other than that, I don't think there's a Big Ten team that's really going to be able to test them. Hey, Ricky, Ricky, man, look. Every once in a while, when you're the veteran big dog, you got to let the new young pups, get smacked in the face a little bit. Let them know the respect needs to be there. MJ did it with Steve Kerr. They were fine. The Bulls won another championship. The Warriors are going to be just fine.
So put Draymond on the sideline. That's what it's going to take. The fear of Draymond Green on the sideline. Yep. That's not a bad take. I'm okay with that. I love what you said, though, about the running back tandem. I mean, if there's any reason that Corum does not win Heisman, it's because the guy right behind him is playing just as good as he is. And that's unbelievable what they're doing at this point. I want to get your take, though. We talked about it last week. We spoke about how we think Michigan is or could be maybe the best team in college football. What do you think about that?
I think this year there isn't a Bama. There isn't a Georgia. There isn't an LSU or a Clemson. Not this year. Unless Georgia's toying with everyone in the regular season, they're the only team I think could be that team, but I don't think they are this year. And so there isn't that team that I sit there and go, there's no chance Ohio State or Michigan is going to beat this team in the college football playoffs. This year isn't that year to be. I haven't seen anything tell me otherwise. So Michigan absolutely has a chance if they make the college football playoffs this year to win a national championship. And I think if there was a year where there's so many just blah teams, if there's a year where I don't care that you can only have one Big Ten champion, if it's Michigan and Ohio State and everybody else in the Big Ten and they play a hell of a game, I think the loser is good enough to still also be in the college football playoff this year in the Final Four. I think it's one SEC team. It's probably going to be Georgia. You cannot tell me that you got to give it to Clemson out of the ACC, who took everything in their willpower to scrape by Syracuse.
Right.
Syracuse. You kidding me? The Pac-12 still isn't there yet. USC needs a little more time. The Big 12 is not there. Sorry, Kansas lovers. Your team fell apart in the end. It's not Texas. It's not Oklahoma. It's not Oklahoma State. It's none of these teams. There are 4 teams right now and then everybody else. And it's Georgia, Alabama. Well, sorry. It's Georgia, Tennessee. We'll see about that. But Tennessee and Alabama are right there. Ohio State and Michigan. It's those 5 teams. And I don't know how you're going to get 3 SEC teams in the Final Four. I just don't see it, and I don't know how you make an excuse for Clemson this year. I don't care if they go undefeated. If they're scraping by Syracuse, they're about to get waxed like they did to Ohio State years ago in the whatever bowl it was where they beat them 31-0 and literally oil checked the player on the field. Like this is not the year to have an ACC team in the Final Four.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm 100% with you. I feel like at this point, it wouldn't shock me at all to see Ohio State and Michigan run the table until they collide against each other. You're 100% right. There's no other reason, especially with the new media deal they just struck, where they might want to put the Big Ten teams on the front foot more. I think this is a perfect opportunity to do so, especially considering how they're both playing. They're unbelievable at this point. They absolutely both, no matter what the loss is, unless one of them just gets smacked 59-0 or some crazy stuff like that. That's the only way, and I don't even see that happening. But if they run the table and get to where the point where they're both, whatever one, they both should be in the playoff at this point. I totally agree.
If they play each other to a 31-28, 50-47, some ridiculous, close game like that, and then whoever wins it goes on and beats the ever-living crap out of Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, whoever is representing the West of the Big Ten. I don't care. The other team, those 2 teams are the best teams in the Big Ten this year by and far and wide. It's Michigan and Ohio State. And if everything else plays out like I think it will, they both deserve to be in the college football playoff.
Easily. It's going to be an awesome game. You have our picks there for the game. Obviously, we're both riding with Michigan, and you seem okay with it. I mean, for Michigan, I appreciate you and Ryan for that because we talked to him after Michigan State took the L to Washington. He was very objective with that. It wasn't just, just green. And
should have heard him before the game.
Oh, I could only imagine. I'm sure he was an absolute wreck. But
he was all hyped about Michigan State going out to Washington. Oh, God, yeah. It was all for that win. And I'm like, Ryan, I don't know, man. Our secondary, not good.
No, not at all. That no-fly zone is completely gone at this point. But those are our picks.
Your flies down.
The flies all the way down. We're going to get to our NFL picks to close the show. Before we get to there, we got to talk about Gear Up Detroit. If you want to get clean and fresh, rep your favorite Detroit athletes. We got plenty of gear here at Gear Up Detroit, sponsored by us here. If you check out gearupdetroit.shop, you can get 25% off your purchase by using the coupon code BTB25 off. It's very, very cool stuff over there. You might want to absolutely go check it out. It's right around the corner from the holiday season. Everybody's supporting and celebrating. These are the gears and the threads you want to be rocking and presenting to your significant other, to your sports fans and your family, your friends. Make sure you check out gearupdetroit.shop. All right, man. Let's talk about some teams that are not annoying in the NFL.
Wait, hang on. Am I looking at the right 5 games? Because a lot of these teams are really annoying on here.
That's actually true. I was going through it too, and a lot of these are some head scratches, so I might have jumped the gun on that one. Let's go down the list and go through our Week 8 NFL picks. These are not going to count, I believe, to the tally between me and AJ. I currently got a 1-game lead on him, and I plan on taking that home as the superior football mind of the show. No disrespect. Anyway, let's go on to the picks, shall we? We got the Thursday night football game, the Baltimore Ravens against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, goodness. Who you got?
I don't know how I can't pick Baltimore with how bad Tampa Bay has looked in these last couple of weeks. They seem to have all the pieces offensively to do what they should be doing, and it's just not happening. I mean, not even close. I don't think Baltimore's that good of a team. I really don't. I think they're an okay team. You know, they got a heck of a talented athlete at quarterback. I still don't know if he's a good quarterback, but he's a heck of an athlete, and he can do a lot of things because of how fast and how quick he is. But everything tells me Tampa Bay should win this game, but they're playing so bad, I can't pick them, so I got to go with the Ravens.
I'm going to go with you as well. I don't know what's going on with Tampa Bay. They look bad. The defense actually isn't that terrible. It's the offense that looks weird. And they're getting their pieces back. The receivers are back healthy. I don't know what to make of them. I totally agree with you on Baltimore and their makeup. I'm very disappointed how they've set up this offense in Lamar Jackson. And I don't think it's a guarantee he comes back in the future with them. So while I don't love either of these teams right now, I'm gonna go with Baltimore just for the saving grace of what they got. Even on the road, I'll take the Ravens for that one. Next game,
this real quick, just to give a little bit of insight into it at least.
Mm-hmm.
The question all year coming in with Tampa Bay was their offensive line. You had one guy retire, 2 guys leave, and it was now, how is this O-line going to hold up? I don't know how many of the problems are due to the O-line, but that was the question of the Tampa Bay Bucs coming into this season.
Yep, I agree. And my hate for Tom Brady will not let me pick him. Okay, Arizona on the road taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Who you got in this one?
Is there a Call of Duty game coming out this Sunday?
I believe there is.
Well, then they definitely can't pick Arizona then. There's no way Kyler's going to be doing anything, but ain't no practice involved with Kyler. If there's a Call of Duty coming out, I don't think so.
What do you mean I got to play today? You see, I'm studying. I'm studying Call of Duty.
Mom, give me a note. No, Minnesota, I mean, look, they got talent, and Kirk Cousins can do enough. It's not a primetime game. It's a regular Sunday game, which means Kirk Cousins is going to play like a normal NFL quarterback and not the Kirk Cousins of Monday Night Football. They got a good offense. Look, they're far and away right now the best team in the NFC North, and I think Arizona is just too sketchy, too spotty. Yeah, they had a nice win against New Orleans this past Thursday, but I like the Vikings in this one, especially at home.
I feel like the Vikings are so fluky. Like, I don't believe anything they're doing, but the difference between a team, like, I don't care if you call it fluky or not. If you can pull out the end, the fourth quarter with a win, you can't really call it fluky. So I'm going to give them their nod, and I see another dominant game by Justin Jefferson. I can't stand anything that Arizona's done. We just saw Kyler cussing out Cliff Kingsbury, telling him to calm the F down on the sideline. I feel like that marriage is coming apart way sooner than later. Give me Minnesota by double digits. I don't trust anything with Arizona right now. Moving on, we are going to two of the biggest surprise teams in the NFL right now. The New York Giants traveling to the Seattle Seahawks. Who you got?
Man, I don't know. All right. If DK Metcalf was playing in this game, I'd pick Seattle because they've got enough weapons to deal with the Giants. The Giants have a good defense, and that's the thing that's been built over these last so many years of waiting for Saquon Barkley to be healthy. They've been able to build the defense up and keep using picks and free agents and stuff and bring in the right guys to play defense, and now you're seeing the dividends of that with the Giants defense, and Daboll's been doing a fantastic job with that. I still don't believe they're a good football team. And as soon as Saquon gets hurt again, they're going to be right back here with our Lions as being one of the worst teams in football. But Saquon's healthy. And so they're able to pull out these wins. They still haven't played anybody good, like actually good. They played some borderlines, the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Packers in London. Right. They played some borderline teams, but they still haven't played a good team. And Seattle's not a good team. They've surprised some people. Raise your hand if you had them leading the NFC West as of right now, which they are. None of us had that. Nobody. All of y'all put your hands down. You all lying. Whoever got their hands up, I don't care if you live in Seattle. You lying. Yeah. So, but Kenneth Walker, when he's fast and when he gets to the open field, good luck catching him. And you still have Tyler Lockett, but Geno Smith's playing very good football. But it's so hard to say, yeah, they should win this game. It's at home though, so. I need to flip something. I got to flip a coin or something.
You do it. Yeah, I know you got a coin somewhere over there. Come on.
No, I got a pack of juicy fruit. Here we go.
There you go. Here, flip it up. See what you can do.
Wait, I didn't say which side was which, and they're both the same.
Ooh,
give me Seattle.
Majority for that rules. I'm with you on that. I don't know how. I don't understand why. But I'm a Geno Smith fan. He is playing his behind off right now. I'm stunned at what I'm seeing by him. He's taking care of the football. He's been mobile. He's totally rejuvenated his career. I'm very upset that DK Metcalf got hurt. I'm not going to lie. When he got on the cart again, I thought it was just another bathroom break that he was about to take. But this one seems a little more serious, so I'm going to save the jokes. But whatever. I still believe in this team. I like Seattle. I still look at the Giants kind of like I do Minnesota. Still a little fluky. Don't trust Daniel Jones. Give me Seattle. I'm going to get Seattle in a close one. I think that's the most logical at this point. All right. The next game we got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on who is this?
I think it's Cleveland. I think it's supposed to be CLE, not CLW. Yeah, the E and the W are next to each other on the keyboard, so I'm pretty sure it's Cleveland. They haven't played each other yet. We are getting into week 8. Probably should make sure of this.
Yeah, I'm going through a double check right now.
But I'm almost positive it's Cleveland because I don't. They're not playing Columbus. This isn't hockey.
Yes, it's the Bengals and the Browns division rivalry game. We're gonna talk about AJ and his typing skills, but we'll get into that later. Who are you going to take in this division rivalry game in the AFC North?
I don't know how you can pick Cleveland. You got to pick Cincinnati, right? I mean, you're talking about Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. That offensive line is just getting better and better and getting used to blocking together and keeping Joe Burrow dry. I don't see how Cleveland with Jacoby Brissett, Hunt and Chubb. Yes, this was nice, and Cooper's a nice wide receiver, but I got to go with the better quarterback who has just as good of weapons around him, especially in the pass-catching side, if not better. I got to go with Cincinnati. I don't care that it's a mistake by a lake. I got to go with the Bengals.
Yeah, this should be a good Monday Night Football game. They're going on the road. I'm going to go ahead and take Cincinnati, too. I love what Jamar Chase is doing. He's taking another leap up forward. Boyd has been playing his behind off, too. I really love the explosion of that offense, and they've shown that even though early this season that offensive line was still struggling, when you keep him clean, Joe Burrow is lethal, and he's making some good plays. I kind of thought he was a tad bit overrated. I didn't like the top 5 crowning of Joe Burrow, but he started to step into his own. It was just too much, man. But I like what he's doing now. I think this is a favorable matchup for him. I think Cleveland is. I can't really cheer for them for numerous reasons, but for this reason now, I'm gonna go ahead and take Cincinnati on the road. I think this is an easy call. All right. Let's try to form some logic with this one. The final game that we're going to pick, Miami Dolphins heading on the road to take on our Detroit Lions. Who we going to ride with in this one, man?
I'm riding with my Lions, but I ain't picking them to win nothing.
We're not putting money on it. It's no money on it. We just, All
right. So who's going to stop Waddle? Who's going to stop Hill? Who's going to tackle Mostert? Nobody. And who's going to stop Tua? No, I'm sorry. Even with the backup, if Teddy Bridgewater comes in, and yes, I absolutely agree. Whoever threw that up there, well, yeah, there you go, 40-yard dashes. Yeah, facts, absolute facts. Mm-hmm. We don't have the weapons defensively. Okudah can't be everywhere, and he's not a lockdown one-on-one anyway. He's a smart defensive player, and when he gets over-the-top help, he is very, very good. But Owarwe is not good. Didn't think he was good coming into the season, and it's been proven so far in the year. We could try and throw the young guns and the young legs, Lucas and Joseph, on them. Joseph, he's got that length. He's got those long arms that can make up for his other deficiencies and maybe knock some balls away, because Tua does not throw a great ball.
No.
And that's what could be the difference. If the Lions are able to somehow win this game, it's because they were able to take advantage of Tua's ball. Because he does not throw a good one. There were so many in this last game that should have been intercepted, but weren't by the Steelers. There was at least 5 that I saw that should have been picked off and weren't. So if Joseph can get his hands on some of these and actually corral them, if Okudah can do the same, and if Lucas, I don't know who else is going to be playing in there in that secondary, but if they can get their hands on some of these and make these picks, they have a chance. But outside of that, it is too much speed on the Dolphins. Mostert is also damn good as a running back, and we do not have a good running defense. Look at all the guys that have ran on us so far. And if Miami's smart, they're just going to hand it to Mostert all day and then let Tua do a couple little things, but just let Mostert run down our throats because it's been working for everyone else.
So obviously you're going with Miami at this point.
Yes.
Okay, clear. Another name that I think is due for a dominant performance. He's had some pretty good games this season. I think Gesicki's going to eat. I think he's going to go crazy. I think you're going to see a lot of plays where we'll probably see Tyreek over the top or Waddle over the top because, again, the Lions' cornerbacks are not deep. I like Deshaun Elliott, but he can only be so many places. They're really missing Tracy Walker at this point. And even if they did, I don't even think that would be enough. I could see Tua. Again, we've seen quarterbacks that aren't even mobile find the ability to scramble and just make plays off the run. So I can see that absolutely being the factor of this game against the Lions. I feel like Mostert is going to dominate. I think Gesicki can see a lot of red zone targets. He'll look like what we want Hockenson to look like, which is a rarity, of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Miami. It could get ugly. I'm hoping the home field advantage gives them a little bit of a fight, but I don't think this is going to be a close game at all. I really don't.
Look, for all those Lions fans out there that are going to be watching the game, just keep thinking the Rams are continuing to suck too. We're going to have 2 really, really good picks in the first round of the draft next year. Just keep thinking about that. We're not trying to win this year anyway.
No.
Keep packing up those picks, keep getting better numbers on those picks so that we can be better for the future. It's a long-term plan for a reason. You just got to have some patience. I know we're not used to that. We're used to throwing guys out after 2 years. I was happy we did it with Quinn and Patricia. I wasn't so happy we did it a couple years back before that.
Right.
You can't do it right now or we're going to be right back where we start again. You got to have some faith and have a chance for a real future and a real build. I really think we're on the path for that as long as the fans can calm down a little bit and have some patience and have some faith.
Yes, cross your fingers. We're all in the same vibe together. Matthew, I appreciate you checking in and riding out with us here today, man, on Beyond the Box. Detroit Sports Nation, all our fans, all the viewers, we appreciate you all for checking in and tuning in to us this week. And no, Ricky, we're not giving any more time for Jim Caldwell. He's done. We're not doing Caldwell anymore with the Lions fan base. No more Caldwell. It's a wrap on him. And it's a wrap on the show. Again, thank you all for being here. Be sure to subscribe. Check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're closing in on 5,000 subscribers of Detroit Sports Nation. Make sure you tap in and stay locked in with us. Again, follow our social media channels. Follow me as well at I am Eric Vincent. You have any socials you want to give out for the people so they can tune in and rock out with you, man?
Man, I don't even remember them at this point. You already got all the important ones. The DSN ones are the important ones. DetroitSportsNation.com, where you can find everything that we do on this station. We love all you guys, fans, hanging out with us. We appreciate it week in and week out. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. And Griffin and Bass, you guys are a great follow on social media as well. Make sure you guys find them on Twitter at Griffin and Bass. And again, make sure you lock in and stay tuned in with us, even through these tough times as Lions fans. We appreciate your support. We'll see you again next week right here at DSN. This has been Beyond the Box. Take care, people.